So I wondered how fast this train is, so I measured how long it'll take to cross this plank. Today we're taking a look at the Mehano TGV Atlantique, a French high-speed train, and it comes in a pack of 4. There is a dummy locomotive, first-class car, second-class car, and a powered locomotive. So let's get started on this one. So this has a pretty cool color scheme with a blue stripe, a silver metal body, and gray on the roof. If you take a look at the front, we have a headlight on top, the cab windows which have molded in windshield wipers, and some smaller windows on the side. Then down below we have this line to detach the nose, and then we have a pair of headlights with a vent here in the middle. There is a bit of scuffing on the tip, and this is where the coupler would come out in real life. And here's how it looks like from the side. Apparently that line goes all the way down to the plow. Then we have 531, that's a set number, some molded in details for the panels as well as the door. Then we have the modern SNCF logo for the French National Railway. Then we got this pretty detailed bogie design. You can check out the suspension springs. It's all molded in, and since it's a powered car, the wheels are locked, so they're not going to be free rolling. There are also some steps to get up to the cab door. Then we have some vents on top and the blue middle section where there is a thin white line. Then we have this swooshy TGV logo on some panels, and there are some molded in details. On top there's also an opening where the pantographs are. The rear bogie also has this wire molded in, so it is a different design from the front one. So now let's take a look at what it looks like on the end. In the back we have some nodules. There is a door here that's locked with a small window, little platform to walk between, and apparently TGVs have buffers. And if you look at it from the side, you can see just how the gangway is designed. There is a tubular structure, and apparently this coupler is attached to the truck, so it moves in one big piece. And if you take a look on the other side, it's pretty much the same thing, except if you look on the back bogie, it doesn't have that wire. Instead, it's actually on the front one. The 3 is pretty scuffed up on this side. You can see some dark scuffing going along the ridges. It just tends to move around in a starter box. And here's what it looks like from this angle. Alright, so let's take a look at the roof. So as we saw before, here's the top headlight, and it's actually just a clear plastic. There is no actual light in there. Further along, we have this little bump over here, as well as some molded in lines forms a triangle shape. Then we have some holes that are kind of random. I'm not sure what they're for. Some tinier ones as well. Then we have the pantograph system, some vent detail, a roof door hatch, and this brown insulator. You can see the roof detail is a bit asymmetrical. Then we have some AC/DC pantographs. There are different widths, so they can change the voltage per country. So here's what it looks like with the pantograph raised. You can see there is no spring to it. There are 2 tiers, so you can raise it halfway if you want, or all the way up. And here's a view of the whole car with the pantograph raised. Looks pretty nice. Alright, now let's take a look at the bottom. So in the front there's a giant hole, so you can see the inside of the cab where they have some clear plastic pieces. Then we have the powered bogie. You can see an arrow to show the direction, a deep screw hole here, some waste disposal information, and here's what it looks like on the other end. So these 2 end cars are basically the exact same thing. They even have the same number, 531, because it's a set. And here's a view of it from the side. You can see they're the exact same thing. The only difference is one is powered, so it's heavier, while the other one is empty, so it's super light. And this is where I found out the seller from eBay, they just replaced the pantograph with the wrong part. You can see it's grade short, so it doesn't really match the other one. And actually I looked at the box art, and they had this 3rd type of pantograph, which is totally inaccurate. And I looked at the other ones, and apparently they did it right for the POS, but not for the Atlantic. So now I'm going to take a look at the second class transition car. So here's what it looks like from the front. The gangway design is pretty much the same thing as the front, although at the bottom they have this coupler. So on the roof there is this large hump to transition to the power car. Then we have these 4 thin windows. Let me know if you guys know what this is for. An LED display board, and the doorway, which is painted in green with number 2, and a door handle. And at the bottom we have a door step. And here's a look at the bogie design. We have the circular piece here in the middle. It's different from the power car, and a little molding here. There also is a subtle lip around the bogie, so if you look at it from above, you can see it extrudes. Moving down along, we have some windows, and if you look on the inside, there's actually no interior at all, so it's completely empty. So that's what makes this car really light, and there's some vents here, and 3 at the bottom, some molded in detailing here. Then we have a bogie here with a gangway on top, and here's how it looks like from the other side. It does pivot from this pole here in the middle. This side doesn't have the 2 vents, but besides that, it looks pretty much the same thing. As for the roof detail, we have this insulator here, surrounded by a huge bump, and a center line going across the roof. And if you look closely, there's little bumps, so they add a bit more texture. Pretty nice little detail, and at the end, we have this insulator here, and some more molding. Now let's go take a look at the bottom. So the coupler does move in a goal shape. Then we have a bogie with free rolling axles, and in the middle, I don't know what this is, maybe it's a sprue, and here's a look at the back. So I can actually take off this piece, and you'll see a Lego minifigure hand. So the way it works, it just grabs onto this pole with the claw. Now let's take a look at the first class transition car. So the front is identical to the previous car, but on this car there is a door at the end with a step to get up, and this colorway is painted in magenta. There also are 2 windows instead of 4, and moving further down along, we have this little lip here as well, and a singular window, and some regular windows, and some vents. This side actually has additional pair at the bottom, and on the end you'll see that Lego minifigure hand again. This car didn't have the bogie attached, and here's what it looks like on this side. The roof is pretty much the same design, and here's a look at the bottom. So to connect a train to a locomotive, you just attach a coupler, and they just snap into each other. So in railway terms, this is known as the Jacobs bogie. The load is shared between 2 different cars, so that's different from your typical bogie. And here is the range of motion of the couplers. You can see it's pretty wide. And here is the range of the Jacobs bogie. Now it does go all the way until practically the edges of the car are almost touching. So apparently the way the articulation works, the arms, they actually are on different levels. So one grabs the top, one grabs the bottom. So that is another difference between the cars. So this set comes with a curved track and a straight track. They use nickel silver, and here's a look at their railroad ties. Here's all the tracks that I got except the feeder track. And apparently these black pieces are connectors that go in between the track to secure it. They also have 4 extra brass crimps, which you would just attach to the edge of the rails. Now if you try to fit the connectors on the bottom, they're just gonna fall out. They do make the track secure so it doesn't easily come apart. This also comes with a feeder track with a level crossing. On the edge you can see some texture for the ballast. You can also use it as a re-railer, and it has a wooden texture. And here are 2 prongs to feed power to the track. Now on the flip side, it says it's an 18-inch radius, and it's made in Slovenia because Mehano is Slovenian. And here's a side-by-side comparison for Jivo. You can see the cab heights are vastly different. The TGV is much shorter, although they are around the same length. Now because I don't have a European plug, I just use my Kato for the power supply. Now the reason why I'm running this train so slow is because it was missing 2 tracks, so I can't complete the loop. Yep, I got scammed. So I wondered how fast this train is, so I measured how long it'll take to cross this plank, which is 9.5 centimeters. For the TGV at max speed, it went 0.71 meters a second, which is 2.5 kilometers an hour, which in real life terms is 223 kilometers an hour, or 139 miles per hour. It's pretty fast, but compared to the real TGV Atlantique, which has a max speed of 300 kilometers an hour, it does fall short by 77 kilometers. I've also done speed tests on the Piko ICE 3 and the Bachmann Acela Express, which goes 281 miles per hour and 110 miles per hour. So the TGV is faster than the Acela, but it comes nowhere close to the Piko ICE 3. I also tested how fast the locomotive would be by itself. Without the extra weight, it does go faster at around 2 miles per hour, which in real life scale would be 297 kilometers an hour, which is pretty close to the real thing. So for my final thoughts, I got the Mehano TGV Atlantique because I think TGVs are one of the most iconic high-speed trains, so I got this off eBay from the Netherlands. Now it's not the most detailed model, being over 10 years old, with no working headlights and no interior. However, I was surprised they do include some tiny little multi-details, and it is a fairly good runner. I think it looks pretty sharp for its price. There are actually a lot of TGV models in HO scale from different brands: Markland Trix, Joe F, Lima, Mehano, and within them are lots of variations in color schemes, detail quality. Be careful of what you get. And speaking of being careful, unfortunately this set was missing 2 tracks and half the connectors, so I couldn't finish the loop, and they replaced the pantograph with the wrong part. And it just goes to show you to be careful of buying stuff on eBay. Make sure they show pictures of everything inside the box, not just the outside if it's not brand new. Now on a positive note, they did say they will look for spare parts. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Hit the like button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.